Alright, let's start with something that on paper looks like an upgrade, but for a lot of people didn't feel like one at all. Anthropic released Claude Opus 4.7, and technically it is a better model. It improved significantly in coding benchmarks, especially in things like SWE bench and cursor bench. Vision capabilities are sharper, faster, more precise. So if you're building agents or working on long, complex coding workflows, this is actually a strong improvement. But here's where things get complicated. For many users, especially developers using Claude daily, the experience got worse. The model's ability to retrieve information across long contexts dropped dramatically. And at the same time, the new tokenizer started consuming more tokens for the exact same input, which basically means you're paying more for the same work. Same pricing, higher consumption. That's what people are calling a silent price increase. And then, on top of that, new security safeguards started flagging completely normal code as malware. Things like simple HTML or CSS getting blocked, breaking entire workflows entirely. Now, things like simple HTML or CSS getting blocked, breaking entire workflows. So now you have this strange situation where the model is technically stronger, but practically more frustrating. And this doesn't feel accidental. It feels like prioritization shit. Anthropic optimized this model for enterprise use cases, long-running coding agents, companies building products, teams using tools like Devin or Cursor. And in doing that, they deprioritize individual users, creative workflows, casual use cases, flexibility, cost sensitivity. Those are no longer the focus for them anymore. So when users say, this feels worse, it's not because they're imagining it. It's because the product is no longer designed for them. And that's something we're going to see more and more of. AI companies are starting to choose who they serve. And once they make that choice, everything else becomes a trade-off. Now, just 2 days after that release, Anthropic dropped something that makes the strategy even more clear. They launched Claude Design. And this is a big move. Claude Design takes a simple prompt and turns it into full prototypes. Slides, landing pages, mockups, all aligned with your design system automatically. So instead of describing what you want and then building it step by step, you just get the final output. And the market reacted immediately. Figma stock dropped. Competitors like Lovable responded within hours, offering more credits to retain users. Because this wasn't just a feature release. This was Anthropic entering a massive market, and more importantly, attacking it from the one infrastructure layer that it controls. So here's why this matters. A lot of design tools today are built on top of AI models, which means their core capability depends on someone else's technology. And now that same provider is building the product directly. If your product is basically Claude plus a good interface for a specific task, you now have a problem because Anthropic can build that interface themselves and they own the model. This is a classic platform risk. But it doesn't mean that those companies just disappear. It means that the game changes. It becomes less about having the best tool and more about having the best distribution strategy. The companies that win will be the ones that can acquire users, retain them, and build brand loyalty because the underlying capability is becoming commoditized. And Anthropic just made that very, very clear. Now let's shift to infrastructure a bit. xAI just launched standalone voice APIs through Grok, speech to text and text to speech, with pricing that undercuts major players like DeepGram and 11 Labs. And this is a big deal because for the first time, a company with real scale is entering the voice API market aggressively. This isn't a small startup trying to compete. This is a company connected to Tesla, Starlink, and X. That means built-in distribution, and the pricing tells you exactly what's coming. A price war. When infrastructure players start competing on cost, margins collapse quickly. And for developers building voice agents, this actually is great news. More competition means cheaper access. Cheaper access means more experimentation. More experimentation means faster adoption. Now, there still is a gap. In English, Grok is already competitive. In Spanish and other language, existing players still have that edge. But that gap won't last long because once a player like xAI commits to this space, improvement cycles accelerate. So this isn't isn't the end of the voice race. This is the beginning of a pricing war. Now, let's zoom out a bit. Stanford released the AI Index 2026 report, and the numbers are honestly hard to ignore. 88% of companies have adopted AI. 4 out of the 5 university students are using generative AI, and generative AI reached over 50% population penetration in just 3 years. That's faster than the internet, faster than personal computers, which should completely change how we think about this space. Because there is still a narrative that AI might be in a bubble, but that data does not support that. Adoption is not slowing down, it's accelerating. And the economic value is growing with it. Generative AI tools for US consumers alone are estimated over $170 billion annually. And the value per user is increasing as we speak, which means people are not just testing AI, they're integrating it into their daily lives. There's also a geopolitical layer here. The gap between US and Chinese models is shrinking quickly, and at the same time, the US is losing AI talent to other regions. This is no longer just a company-level competition. It's a global race for talent, for infrastructure, for leadership. And finally, let's talk about something that feels symbolic, but is actually very, very real for you and me. A humanoid robot just ran the Beijing half marathon in 50 minutes. 50 minutes. That's faster than the human world record. Now, this is not about running. This is about control, balance, autonomy, recovery. The robot reportedly crashed into a barrier near the end and still finished the race. And that's the important part. Not perfection, resilience. The ability to operate in real-world conditions, recover from errors, and keep going. And China is investing heavily in this space. Massive fundings into robotics automation and embodied AI. This is no longer experimental. This is industrial strategy. While parts of Silicon Valley focus on software, tokens, and model release, China is building physical AI systems. And that's a completely different layer of value because software intelligence is powerful, but the physical intelligence moves the world. And the players who lead in that space will define the next phase of the economy. If you look across all these stories, the pattern becomes very clear. AI is not just improving, it's shifting from general models to specialized ones, from tools to systems, from chat to execution, from software to physical infrastructure. And the competition is no longer just about who has the smartest model, it's about who controls distribution, who controls costs, who controls where work actually happens. And right now, the battle is just getting started.